Good day and welcome to the round 3 of the Full Throttle Racing League Tier 2 here at Monaco. Welcome everyone watching and best of luck to all the drivers participating. The race is sure to be really exciting as Monaco always delivers some crazy results, crazy qualifying, crazy race, possibly safety cars or two, and possibly some rain. We'll see as Mr. Harvey in the Red Bull comes around on his first lap on the softs. Let's see how he does right at the beginning. Let's hop on board. As he comes past the Casino Square towards Mirabeau into the very tight Grand Hotel chicane. Have to drop down all the way into first gear to make that corner. Very difficult corner. It's going to back the whole grid right into each other. Hopefully no one loses their wings. Drivers are going to have to pay attention, have to work really hard, as this is going to be a very long race around Monaco. Very easy to make mistakes as the Red Bull comes through the Nouvelle chicane and past the famous part of the track where all the famous yachts are. Purple sector, as he is the only driver to set a lap so far around Raskas. Last corner before the main straight, and that is the complete lap of Monaco. Harvey of course going first as he's the first to set a time. We will try and follow as many cars as possible and not miss any of the exciting action we are in store for. We have a few drivers that are going to be looking to make, or to keep the momentum, should I say, from the second round at Spain. I suggest you go back and watch that, as it was also a very exciting race. The likes of Big Ben in the Alpha Tauri and Liverpool in the Haas, both 1 and 2 in the championship. I'm not seeing Craigo, as he is a reserve in 3rd place in the championship. We have a few drivers that are going to want to get ahead. The key to this track is definitely track position. You do not want to be stuck behind, as you will lose tons of time sitting behind a car, as there's not a lot of time, there's not a lot of space to make overtakes. A one stop is ideal, however any form of wing damage or safety cars could play major roles in the strategies, and it really is a coin flip of how this is going to go. It's very exciting. We also have a few new drivers, the likes of Adidas going 3rd in the Ferrari. Very exciting for him to make his debut and leave a positive mark in the championship. Hopefully these drivers can shake out the nerves. I'm sure they've done lots of practice, worked on their strategies, and now it's just put pen to paper. Much easier said than done. Monaco is definitely one of the harder tracks on the calendar, with the likes of Jim Clark, famous Formula 1 driver, who's taken pole 4 times here at Monaco, yet never claimed a victory. If that doesn't tell you how difficult this track actually is. It also holds the all-time record in the modern F1 era for the least number of cars to finish a race. That number was only 4 cars seeing the checkered flag. That is completely ridiculous. We are definitely in for a show. Cannot wait for this one to start. We will see drivers going out on their soft tires, as there are no restrictions, so as we see Killer J on the mediums. Actually, maybe to rub them in, get some more grip. Or perhaps he's gone for a more harder strategy, more harder compound strategy, and has a few mediums to spare. Get warmed up on those mediums. Best to get your eye in on the strategy that you will be competing in. But like I was saying, this is Q1. There are no restrictions. The top 15 drivers in full grid would go through, and the bottom half of the grid would be knocked out. I think we only have 15 drivers, so we should see everyone make it through to the next qualifying. But I'm sure these drivers will capitalize on some good practice laps. They do have quite a few sets of tires to burn, an extra set of softs, easy to waste at least a pair, as we see Killer J losing it a bit. Luckily he did not DNF. It's very easy to DNF and ruin your whole qualifying. He still has plenty of time, 10 minutes left. He can still get in the pits and set another time. So now taking provisional first place of Q1 with a 1:11.3. Both Williams going 1 and 2. This is very exciting from the Williams so far at the beginning. I'm sure they will be ecstatic with that start. Let's see if they can carry that momentum throughout the qualifying and into the race. As we have a yellow flag from one of the Renaults of Warrior Huntsman. Doesn't seem to have any damage in his front wing. I'm sure he'll be okay. Best to make the mistakes now in qualifying than to make the mistakes in the race, as anyone on this grid can win this race. A little bit rusty from the Renault, perhaps shaking off some rust, but don't rule him out. Let's go on board with DDoS in his debut in the Full Throttle League. We will go on board with him just for a little bit of the lap, see what he can do. DDoS not happy with his initial lap, backing out early, conserving his tires. We will monitor that. A few drivers going onto the mediums, a little bit, only two, a little surprising, as the mediums could play useful in the race. However, they could have a second set of mediums, as they could have always taken a different tire strategy. Barry in the Mercedes setting a competitive lap time on the mediums in fourth. Perhaps the mediums are not that much slower than the softs. The issue with the softs is, although they're very, very quick, they do die out very quick. And you want to minimize as many pit stops as you can, as Monaco requires a lot of time actually on the track instead of in the pits. Changing your wing, changing tires, you lose tons of time in the pits here. Although it is a very short pit lane. As I just check the standings from the previous race, we do have Williams leading the constructors. No surprise there, as they are 1 and 2 currently. Racing Point second. Only one racing point today. Unfortunate for them, with AlphaTauri right on their back, only 3 points behind. AlphaTauri's of Big Ben leading the championship. I'm sure he will want to carry the AlphaTauri name, keep them up in the constructors. As Harvey in the Red Bull doing a purple sector, going a little bit slow towards the bridge. We'll see what he can produce. Just to continue where I was, Haas in fourth in the constructors. passes both 13th and 14th, not where they want, but not important at this stage, as they will both be going through to Q2. So don't read too much into this qualifying. Renault in 5th, Ferrari in 6th, Red Bull 7th, Mercedes 8th, McLaren 9th, and Alfa Romeo failing to score a point so far. But as you can see, we do have balls in the Alfa Romeo in 3rd at the moment. Perhaps he can score some valuable points for them and get them out of that slow start that they have had. Only 5 minutes left. Drivers quite happy with their times. No need to waste a set of tyres at this point, as everyone has a guaranteed spot into the next round. Just another fun fact for you: the sharp hairpin at the end of Sector 1, in between Sector 1 and Sector 2, is actually the slowest corner on the F1 grid, with an average of 48 kilometers an hour around that corner. That is incredibly slow in an F1 car, as these cars do average nearly 200 kilometers an hour around this very tricky street circuit. The tight chicanes, tight little roads that they have to compete on. Of course, this is a street circuit. With the street circuits around the F1 calendar, the road seems to be very abrasive, so the softs do tend to be the less favored tire, and the mediums do tend to be a little bit more competitive in the long run. Although the race might throw everything to whack, we could have a wet race. Of course, setting behind a safety car could cool the tires, and drivers may be able to stretch their medium, stretch out their soft to fit an even better strategy. Soft to hards could definitely work around this track if drivers are able to stay out of trouble, keep their good lap times. As we are joined by Captain Infinity, perhaps he could get a lap in before the time ends. This would actually end up having a few drivers, or at least one driver, losing their position if they aren't careful. I'm not sure if Captain Infinity will be able to set a time as the Ferrari moves out of the way. Very dangerous from him. The Red Bull was on a hot lap. Let's jump on board with that. That Red Bull of Williams are going into the pits. Hopefully the Ferrari didn't get in the way too much. Let's jump on board with this Red Bull of Harvey, who started us off. Let's see if he can improve. A nice entry and exit for him going up the hill. You want to carry a lot of momentum going up this hill, as you can definitely lose a lot of time. Easy to understeer through this very tight section in the Casino Square. Going towards the hairpin, going down all the way to first gear. Very easy to clip your wing and ruin your race. One of the faster sections of the race, through the tunnel. No lifting off through here. Just reaching 280 kilometers an hour. These cars are incredibly quick. Liverpool now dropping out of the top 15. He could be losing his spot in the first qualifying and having to start right at the back. He's currently in the pits at the moment. Hopefully he has time to get out. I don't see any movement from his pits. Perhaps he wasn't expecting someone to join. Very unfortunate. Very lucky for the Racing Point of Captain Infinity, who now joins Jack in their chase for some valuable points in the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. Captain Infinity doing enough at the moment to better Liverpool Fan. Liverpool Fan currently second in the Drivers' Championships. Not the start he would want. Definitely not the start for Haas, as they are right there in contention for the Constructors' Championship. Monaco is definitely a proving ground for drivers. Drivers around Monaco can definitely prove their skills, as the better drivers tend to do better on this track. As Captain Infinity hitting the wall, losing more of his wing. He does not have a wing at all. It's going to be very difficult to track around the track as he hits that wing. Careful not to DNF, because it's very easy. Back to what I was saying, the Monaco does tend to be a proving ground. The better drivers tend to do better here. Drivers that maybe lack a little bit of confidence do struggle, tend to hit the wall a little bit more often. Ayrton Senna famously burst onto the F1 scene with a storming performance in the rain-soaked 1984 race. And he still holds the record for the most wins at Monaco with 6, including 5 consecutive victories between 89 and 93 season. Proving that he is definitely one of the greats, if not the best F1 driver to have ever graced the track of Monaco. He also shares a few titles with the likes of Graham Hill, Michael Schumacher, Alan Prost, and even a little bit more modern of Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, both winning twice in Monaco. Kimi Räikkönen and Daniel Ricciardo have both won here too. But today we focus on full throttle racing tier 2, as the likes of Big Ben, Liverpool Fan, Captain Infinity, Jack FRS, Sadistic, all at the top of the table, looking to edge a little bit further of their competitors. The first qualifying has been completed, as we just wait for the last remaining minutes as drivers complete their final laps of the session. Very surprising to see a few cars go quite late, using up at some tires. Anthony in the Ferrari doing 4 laps on those softs. Won't affect him too much in the race, as he does have spares. Spare softs, spare mediums. Liverpool Fan will be kicking himself, missing out in his Q2 position. Q2 has now begun. 15 minutes on the clock has now started. The countdown for these drivers to fight for the top 10, as the bottom 5 will be getting knocked out of Q2. A little bit of strategy and mind games can play into Q2. Q2 is definitely one of the more interesting of the qualifying, as the top 10 will be required to start on the tires that they set their fastest laps. As you can see, a few drivers going onto the mediums. I personally believe that might be the quickest strategy, but I'm not racing. Quite a few drivers on the softs looking to perhaps make a few positions early on, race towards that first safety car, maybe pull a little bit of a gap. Like I said, track position is very important. Q2 sees our first elimination of Liverpool fan, currently second in the championship. He will be watching on in a bit of frustration, a little bit of traffic, as everyone seems to want to get out as soon as possible. Big Ben, our current championship leader, out in front of the train, quite a while ahead. He'll be looking to set a quick good lap and get himself in a good position to further stretch out his lead. Let's go on board with him for a bit, see what he can do on this initial lap. Big Ben will be a little bit upset that his teammate Shadow Moody was unable to make the race. Perhaps he could join us late, hopefully before the race, as the drivers are not required to qualify, although I'm sure they would prefer to do it, get themselves higher up. A little bit of wheel spin going into the tunnel, a little bit of sketchy lap, but still very early on. Time to improve tires that he could throw on through the Novel chicane. Very tricky chicane, very easy to wheel spin, hit the wall, as each corner of Monaco does tend to be more and more difficult, especially over time. These drivers will be sweating. This will be an endurance race, as mistakes will be costly, and the amount of focus is unparalleled to any other track on the grid. Big Ben, of course, setting the fastest lap, as he's the first one out. Second will be the Mercedes. Let's see if he can improve. Very going second. On the mediums though, beating the Red Bull of Harvey and the Haas. He will be happy with that time so far. He will be hoping that he can stay a little bit higher up on the grid, and it will do him wonders. Sadistic taking pole. Very, very quick driver. Very, very good in qualifying. Balls in the Alfa Romeo, definitely making his mark in the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo yet to score a point, and I think this pace will do the team very happy. So, as Anthony Stan in the Ferrari doing a 1:11.5, only two drivers to get into the 1:11s so far. Still very early in the race, in the qualifying, I should say. Apologies. Lots of time left on the track. A few drivers still in the pits, yet to come out. Perhaps waiting for the track to come to them, as each lap that these cars do will heat up the track and provide the cars with more grip, making the track faster and allowing these drivers to push that edge just a little bit more. But they will be careful, very nervous to push that edge, as it is very easy to clip a wing and ruin your entire weekend. Some more yellow flags as drivers slow down to get out of the way of potential hot laps. Some good sportsmanship. The Haas going down the escape road. Not sure what's happening here. Reversing back onto the track. Not entirely sure what, as he tries to do a 3-point turn. This is going to cost him a lot of time. This is the last thing that you would want, especially the Haas, who want to capitalize on as many points as possible. Very easy to miss your braking point on this track. Very easy to heat up your brakes, lose some traction, as these escape roads will cost you tons of time. Drivers will be looking to avoid any such escape roads in the race. As we see another car entering the escape... No, Kenny able to avoid the escape road. Drivers perhaps playing mind games, holding out on their quick laps, trying to force their competitors to go on the wrong tire. A lot of mind games in qualifying, especially in Q2. Sadistic King B in the Williams, happy with his time. He will not be improving it as he retires from the session. Drivers will be mindful not to attack their outlap and waste all that precious grip, as these tires will be going into the race and each lap will count, each lap of grip will count. A few drivers yet to set a lap, waiting for that last second, so they have the most heat in the track. A few drivers on their mediums, very sixth, top of the medium drivers so far. Don't think he will be too upset. As long as they make that top 10, the medium drivers should be in for a very competitive race, as they'll be playing the long game. But no strategy can go to plan 100% of the time at Monaco, so they will be hoping for little problems as possible. Anthony also retiring. He is happy with his lap. Very surprising from the Haas of it's Jake. He is out of top 10, perhaps wanting to start on a fresh set of mediums, or perhaps start on the hards, as any driver that is out of the top 10 will be able to start on any tire compound of their choice. The hards are also a very competitive option. The hards are the slowest compound of the three, but they can go very long, and barring any safety car issues, they could jump an entire grid if they are so lucky, as cars will pit for new tires and these hard drivers will not. Quite a few strategies to choose from, and we will see how it plays out. I will be with you throughout the race to commentate and provide you with as much information as possible. Only a few drivers on track at the moment. Kenny taking first with a 111.2 on the softs. He's looking to perhaps run a 2 pits strategy. Also very viable if he has the pace. He will be hoping that there are no safety cars that will be holding him back. Very strong pace from the Williams. Very impressive from him. As we go on board with the Ferrari of DDoS once again on the mediums, looking to go long on his debut. Big Ben currently sitting in 11th and in the pit stops. He'll be wanting to come out and set a quicker lap. The last thing he would want is to start right at the back in traffic. He does have the potential to take pole here, or at least get on the front row of the grid, which would give him a much better chance of maintaining his lead in the front of the Drivers' World Championship. Good lap so far from DDoS, looking to make that top 10. Leaving lots of time on the table. Perhaps another lap for improvements if he so needs it. The Red Bulls are in a little bit of danger at the moment, and the Mercedes. Quite the opposite in real life, as the Mercedes and Red Bull do tend to dominate the grid. They'll be looking to improve and get themselves in that top 10. Very strong pace from the Ferraris, or from the Ferrari of Anthony Stan so far, should I say, on the softs, as we see Harvey and the Red Bull clipping the inside. Very easy to clip that inside. Luckily no damage. He'll be looking to quickly rub that one out of his head. Look forward to the next few corners and improve, as Monaco is all about confidence. A pit stop to maybe go on to the softs. We might see a few of these medium drivers go on to the softs to maybe improve, as we see a lot of the front runners retiring, happy with their laps. Not a lot of time left in Q2. It is crunch time. Let's hop on board with Big Ben, who is now on his first lap of Q2 on the softs. Looking to make that top 10. Big Ben, very quick driver, very capable of a quick hot lap here in qualifying, but this is a very competitive grid. I would not rule out anyone on this grid, as this entire grid could be in contention for a win or a podium or some very valuable points, as Big Ben with a purple sector coming around into Raskas. Onto the last corner, onto the main straight, DRS open, running out of ERS just at the very end and taking third quite comfortably in the top 10, knocking Very in the Mercedes out of that top 10. Jay Hartnell in the Mercedes and Harvey in the Red Bull now in danger of falling out of that top 10. A few of these drivers retiring quite early, quite confident in their laps. I wouldn't feel too comfortable just yet, as we still have quite a few drivers capable of knocking them out of Q3. Big Ben will be quite happy with that lap. I don't see him getting knocked out from that time. Harvey looking to perhaps set a better time, be a little more comfortable than 10th. As he now begins his lap. A lot of the medium compound cars now deciding to go onto softs, perhaps not happy with their place on the grid, and deciding not to go long. Jay Hartnell and the Haas of It's Jake deciding to stay on the mediums. Only 3 drivers on the mediums in Q2. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. A lot of cars on the same strategy as their teammates. You do tend to lose a lot of time as Harvey gets a purple sector 2. You do tend to lose a lot of time double stacking in the pits. That would involve 2 cars pitting at the same time. There's only 1 slot for a car. As Harvey improves, outstanding lap by him, comfortably making it into Q3. Jay Hartnell in danger. Both Mercedes in danger at the moment. As we jump on board with the Ferrari of DDoS, a purple sector 2, he is flying as he's the last car to set a lap. Let's go on board for this final corner onto the main track, opening up DRS. No ERS for him. And he is 10th. He makes it into Q3, knocking out both the Mercedes. Both Ferraris in Q3 and not a Mercedes making it into Q3. Very interesting times, very interesting times. A brilliant lap from DDoS, claiming that last spot of 10th, making it into Q3. Very unfortunate from the Mercedes of Jay Hartnell, just losing out at the very end. These drivers won't be too upset though, as they are now able to select a fresh set of tires. And perhaps selecting the hards and deciding to go long. Very viable strategy. So don't rule out these drivers. But just to run you through our Q2 so far, we have Kenny 25 in the Williams in first with a 111.2. Anthony Stan in Ferrari with a very good lap. Only 0.3 behind. Also on the softs, Big Ben, our championship leader, in third. Our first Red Bull of Harvey, our only Red Bull to make it into Q3. Sadistic in the Williams in fifth. Balls in the Alfa Romeo in sixth. Killer 94J in the McLaren, our only McLaren so far, in the top 10. Warrior Huntsman, the only Renault, looking to score some good points for their teams. Jack FRS in 9th, and DDoS rounding up our top 10. Just over a second separating our top 10. Very competitive grid, like I've said. They will all be looking to make a few positions as we end Q2 with just a final couple of seconds. And I will see you in Q3 as we look to see some very rapid laps being set as drivers look to take provisional pole. As Q3 is on the way, we see our first few drivers look to set a very early lap. A good bank lap is very important, I believe, as Monaco is a very difficult track to get right the very first time, and a good bank lap would allow these drivers some room for improvement, some room to make up for some lost time, perhaps. As we see the Williams of Kenny leading the train, going through that very tight hairpin at the moment. Behind him is Balls in the Alfa Romeo and then the McLaren. They'll be looking to set some very early laps. Just as we wait for them to come around, just another fact for you about Monaco. Monaco has seen 82 different drivers on the podium over the past 70 years. Ayrton Senna taking the most with taking the most top 3 finishes, 8 in total, while Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton with 2 respectively. Let's go on board with Kenny in the Williams, our pole setter in Q2. He will be looking to continue all that momentum. Out of traffic, out ahead in clear space. As we see the clouds starting to form, the track will get a little bit colder. We might see rain towards the end of the session. As I see a few drops, it would be very smart for drivers to get out, as we do see everyone start to come out. As the rain falls on the track will cool down, and modern F1 cars race on slick tires, meaning they're flat, and flat tires are not very grippy, not very sticky in the water, so drivers will be looking to set very quick laps right at the beginning, as I don't see them improving later on. Let's go on board with Kenny in the Williams as he goes around the last few corners towards Raskas. Very, very tight. You want to avoid as much wheel spin as possible. Through the last corner onto the main straight, DRS open, and let's see what time he sets. A 111.2, very competitive, as a 111.2 was top of Q2. We'll see if any drivers can improve. Killer J right behind him, running out of ERS, not setting a time, invalidating his lap, perhaps going a little bit wide. As we see a Red Bull, the 113.0, he won't be happy at that time, but like I said, still time for some improvement, but he will be looking to set a much quicker lap sooner rather than later as the rain starts to pour and get heavier. A 112.3 from Jack, and a 112.5, perhaps the rain already impacting this soft tire compound right at the beginning. Kenny looking to have capitalized, being the very first car out. He will have strategized that right to perfection, going a little bit hot into the pit lane, but it won't affect him too much. Sadistic with a 112.2, about just over a second slower than his teammate. I'm afraid the rain does seem to have made its impact, and we will not see much improvement as Sadistic moves out the way of the Ferrari of Anthony Stan. As it stands, with just over 7 minutes left, we have both Williams of Kenny and Sadistic in 1 and 2 in Q3. Jack FRS in the Racing Point in 3rd. DDoS in the Ferrari on his debut in 4th. He'll be ecstatic with that. Harvey in the Red Bull, who we've seen a lot of so far, in 5th. Our first drivers in the 113s. Anthony Stan with the 113.2 in 6th. Killer 94J, one of the drivers to go out earlier, but invalidating his lap. He'll be kicking himself with that mistake. With a 133.9, about 20 seconds off the pace. With Warrior Huntsman in the Renault and Bowles in Alfa Romeo in the pits. Bowles and Alfa Romeo deciding to come out. The rain is still lightly, as we see a Renault losing it in the first corner, losing half of his wing. He'll be unable to improve. Bowles picking up a 5-place grid penalty. I wouldn't read into that too much, as he will have that removed, as I just believe that's a little bit of game issues. Tapping into the back of a car will provide the car behind with a 5-second penalty, just easily removed at the end of the Grand Prix. I wouldn't let it affect me too much if I were him, as no fault can be put on him. We have the Red Bull of Harvey right on the back, as these two drivers seem to be wanting to race in Q3. Not very intelligent, as the Red Bull seem to have hit the wall. Very silly driving from these two. You would expect them to perhaps leave each other some space and not risk some damage. As we see a few more drivers going out, DDoS not happy with his lap, going out in the rain. Not sure if they can be setting faster times, but these drivers are racing. They have a much better feel of the track, so we should monitor and see if anyone can make some improvements. Harvey going out again. Some more traffic in front of him of Balls and Alfa Romeo, both looking to improve as they sit 10th and 5th respectively. Coming down towards the Novel chicane, you want to brake in between the 150 meter board, not wanting to wheel spin out of this corner and quickly get onto the power to run all this speed. You want to quickly tap the brakes and then get onto the power as soon as possible and use that aero to run that quick left hand corner. You want to carry as much speed you can into Raskas, not too much to understeer, as you will lose quite a few tenths. Coming around into the last corner onto the main straight, he'll be opening up his DRS. Let's see if Balls can improve. He does improve and takes 8th provisionally. Very good lap from him. I do not see if Harvey improved on his lap, but he is currently 5th. Still not a bad place. Not a bad place indeed. 3rd row on the grid. Very interesting to see the two Williams up front. We will see if there are any strategies from them, perhaps a multi-21 later on the race, and we'll see how much team orders are actually present in that Williams garage. The top 3 all retiring, as they don't believe that they could set a quicker lap, or perhaps believe that no one can compete with their times. All possible, all comfortable. Kenny with at least a second breathing room, he'll be happy with his hot lap. Very impressive from him. DDoS out on the track himself. Harvey, Anthony Stan, Balls now in the pits, the McLaren of Killer J, and the Renault of Warrior Huntsman, all on the track looking to improve on their laps, not happy with where they are. Let's go on board with the Renault as he goes on to the final straight. On his out lap, he will now be setting his time. You want to carry as much speed up this corner, a little bit late on the throttle, but not too much, as he opens up the hill. Not wanting to understeer, braking a little early, but smooth is quick. Always smooth is quick. Slow in, fast out. These drivers will be repeating that in their heads. Very slow around the hairpin, very tricky corner to maintain. Killer J right behind the Renault. Not there seems to be a lot of wheel spin from all that rain. Not entirely sure. Doing 3 laps on these softs. Killer J backing out, rightfully so. Don't think he will be improving. Best to pit and retire. With only 1 minute remaining, I don't see us seeing a lot more changes in the grid order. as we are on board the Renault as he looks to improve. Unable to improve, he enters the pits. As no other driver will be looking to improve unless Killer J goes out on another lap. He is going on another lap. He's the only car on track. Let's stay on board with him and see if he can improve, as he is definitely not happy with 9th. Doing 4 laps on these softs. Not sure how much tire grip those will still have. The rain also playing a factor, as I only see these tires getting slower. As you can, for those tenths, for those hundredths of a second, for those thousandths of a second, always looking to improve. And Killer J is no different, as he's hungry to improve. Unfortunately for him, the weather has played a factor, but do not rule him out. Very rapid driver in the McLaren, and although he might not be happy with his qualifying, he should have a clear head for the race and know that he can definitely still take full points. As he comes around the final corner on the final straight, let's see if he can improve. As he stays 9th, I believe. We'll see the grid order and I'll run you through it. Very interesting qualifying so far, with Liverpool fan being knocked out, perhaps not paying attention. Sorry, having a little bit of connection issues there. I apologize for that. Liverpool fan sitting 2nd in the standings was knocked out in Q3, but your Q3 order is Kenny the American in the Williams in 1st, Sadistic 2nd, Jack 3rd, DDoS on his debut in 4th, very good start from him, Harvey in 5th in the Red Bull. Some good qualifying from our top drivers so far, but do not rule out the rest of the grid, as they will be on fresher tyres. The race under the lights will be a wet race. Very, very tricky conditions at Monaco, especially in the dry, and these drivers will be looking to combat these wet weather conditions. Ayrton Senna in his debut race, sorry, let me get this correct. Ayrton Senna, I believe he took a 2nd in that race in 1984 around Monaco. Having the officials take his first position away from him, as they had already believed that the other driver had crossed the line, although we now know that Senna had indeed crossed the line. Hopefully we don't see any incidents like that. Hopefully we can see some clean racing as we see the drivers line up on the grid. 5 red lights, a little bit of connection issues as we see them on their way. Both Williams with great starts. Sadistic taking the lead on the outside. Will they leave them space? A Ferrari losing it in the back. Who is that? Anthony Stan with our first incident. Wet weather. These drivers all a little bit of drivers all going out on slicks, although I seem to have a wet race on my screen. As we see Anthony Stan, our first incident of the evening, a little bit of Racing Point wing. Not the start they would have wanted. A little bit of laggy connection. I do apologize if it is on my end. Let us get some information on the screen and get an update, as we are on a safety car at the moment. Sadistic now leading, taking the lead from his teammate Kenny making up position. Third, Jack FRS, DDoS fourth in the Ferrari, Harvey in the Red Bull fifth, Big Ben sixth, not making up any positions. Captain Infinity making up 4 positions right off the start on those softs. Now in the pits, let's see where they end up. A few drivers going on to the mediums. Not to the mediums, onto the intermediates, I should say. Quite a few drivers going on to the intermediates. I do believe this is a much smarter decision. A lot of our front drivers not deciding to pit. They are going to be losing tons of time. Not entirely sure what there that no pit stops were made. Intermediates, where it's very intelligent from him, and Captain Infinity right behind him on the intermediates himself, as we have quite a few drivers on the soft.